All right, welcome back to Cricket for Americans. Nick here.
Gabe, the Night Watchman.
And we are here to discuss, not react, but discuss and talk about some recent news in cricket. So, I think it's less than 2 days from us recording this. Virat Kohli has announced his retirement from Test International. I mean, there's no other Test out there. And he had already retired from T20 after the World Cup. But then also about a week ago, from what I'm reading here, the captain of the Test team, Rohit Sharma, also announced his retirement. Now, I'm not sure if this is like effective immediately, if that's after a few tours here or there.
Right.
But Rohit, not so much Rohit Sharma because he's been the captain the last few years, yes. Right. But I don't know if he was always a mainstay on the Test team for the last 10 or so years. But Virat Kohli, absolutely.
Right.
But those are two of your veteran, go-to, rely-upon guys. And now they're gone from the Test team. So we're going to be talking about that. I got a few articles pulled up from each of their retirement messages they sent on social media or whatever. But my initial thoughts is this is just crazy. Like, I knew that this was coming eventually for Virat Kohli.
Right.
You're not going to play forever.
Right.
I mean, there's some guys that have played like into their 50s or something. For like,
right.
You're not going to be like an MS Dhoni in the IPL playing forever and ever and ever and whatever it is.
Right.
But it still kind of seems a little soon because as far as I know, he's still busting out centuries here and there. Not every single match, not every single day, but I think his last one wasn't that long ago.
Right.
But at the same time, I get it for no other reason than this guy. We had to do a video 3 or 4 years ago where it just showed how busy this guy was.
Right.
Always doing the face of Indian cricket, always everywhere, IPL, all this kind of stuff. So I'm happy for him to be able to get some extra time and get a break. Hasn't retired from ODI as far as I know.
Right.
But the Rohit Sharma also surprised me. Again, these guys are no spring chickens. But Indian cricket, I mean, they're going to have to go young fast. Right. Because he asked me before we started recording, who do you think is going to be the next captain? And I said, I don't know. Maybe Rahane's out there in the running. He's captained before.
Rahane.
I don't know. I'm really, really surprised by this news. Not shocked, but surprised.
Right.
What are your thoughts?
I think, honestly, immediately it comes back to a conversation we had a few years ago when we were full-blown into cricket. We were streaming. I was going to games, doing all these things. And I said, Nick, it's year-round. It does not end.
No.
And I think that, you kind of saw the writing on the wall, right? He took a lot of heat. Like, he's probably one of the most scrutinized players, which is why I think you and I both love him, because he's got to live up to the hype and at the same time deal with the media and deal with the pressure. I remember the article tearing him apart like, you want to talk about pressure. The biggest pressure is being the captain of RCB. He should be focusing on Indian cricket. And, he went and stepped down from, being the captain of RCB. So it goes back to, bro, these guys, they're not spring chickens. It's not like you said, they're 1,000 years old. But how many games have they played? How many innings have they logged? And it's just to the point where I understand when you're that busy, really how much of your life has been put on the back burner. And I say that because just my son playing 2 years of college football away, and this is his first year back, right? Going to UNLV, rocking his jersey, number 81, Trey, shout out. But bro, he missed everything because you're there like in the off season, you're back for workouts. You get to go back for a few holidays, and this is college ball. Imagine when you are a pro. Now imagine doing that year and year. You miss birthdays, you miss holidays, you miss celebrations.
Face of a nation.
And the kind of the kind of mental exhaustion, especially with the kind of criticism that he faced all the time. I understand and I can see, man, it just got to him. It just got to him, and he's to the point where, like, if you even read the message, he says, I'm walking away with a heart full of gratitude, but, ready to, live life. Like, he's also married, you know what I mean, dude? Like, how often does he even get to see his wife and spend those moments with the kids?
The one kid, he might have more than one now. We haven't been keeping too close track.
When it comes to it, being a professional athlete, especially when you're in that limelight, and again, cricket being all year long, it's a full-time commitment, so you miss out on a lot. And to me, I'm thinking to myself right now, who's going to take over? Who wants to take over? Who wants that job? Honestly, that's got to be in cricket. I don't think there's more pressure than being the captain of India. Maybe Australia, because the media frenzy, and the papers are gonna come after you. Dude, it's so much pressure, and to say he has accomplished so much, right, with India. So ultimately, it's like from Test. I mean, all his accolades are there. I'd be shocked if we didn't see in a few years that he just completely walks away from the game. Just, not a la MS Dhoni. MS Dhoni was pushing 50, still playing
No, I don't think he's in that 50.
For Chennai?
I don't think he's at 50 yet.
He was like 40-something years old.
I think he's like 44, 45 now, which is still...
Universe Boss was up there too.
Athlete.
In his 40s, you know what I mean? I mean, at some point, you're like, bro, I'm trying to walk away. I got to live my life, got to be with the family. Yeah. He doesn't want for anything. He doesn't need the money. He's got all the accolades. Why stay? Rohit Sharma, which is actually younger than Kohli, it's a little bit more surprising to me that he's retiring. And the only thing I can think of, again, is, family, the amount of cricket these guys play between, international, of course, domestic, when the IPL, some of these guys are also playing in, outside leagues. And it takes a lot. You know what I mean? It takes a toll on the body. It takes a toll on the mind.
Yeah, I'm just checking out the ages now that you said that, because I'm not sure who's older. Rohit Sharma's 38.
I want to say he's younger than Kohli, if I'm not mistaken.
But as far as Rohit Sharma goes, I have no idea. But he has such a laid-back personality. He's 30. Yeah, so Kohli's actually younger.
Wow. Okay, interesting.
Kohli's 36. He has such a laid-back personality. I could see when they approached to him at taking over Virat Kohli's captaincy, I can see him saying, I don't know, maybe something to the effect of, okay, I was thinking about retiring pretty soon, so I'll give you a few years.
right.
I'll give you a World Test champion. They got to the finals, they didn't win it. I'll give you a few years, but then I have no idea. But it does seem, at least to me, kind of soon, because when you look at Kohli's career, Kohli has, I think, 9,000 runs scored. He's the fourth highest scorer in India Test cricket. And you're not always going to be able to get up there. Obviously, only 4 guys have. But Rohit Sharma's got like 3,800 runs. And he usually is an opener, right? He starts. So I don't think he has as many matches under his belt. I could be wrong.
Yeah, Kohli has just played more because he came up so young. I know what you're saying.
I want to read these statements real quick, and we'll put them on the screen here so everyone can see. But so this is from CNN Sports. It says, published yesterday from when they're recording. One of India's greatest players announced his retirement from the Test cricket on Monday. It's been 14 years since I wore the baggy blue in Test cricket. Age 22, that's crazy. Honestly, I never imagined the journey this format would take me on. It's tested me, shaped me, and taught me lessons I'll carry for life, he put on Instagram. There's something deeply personal about playing in whites. The quiet grind, the long days, the small moments that no one sees that stay with you forever. As I step away from this format, it's not easy, but it feels right. I've given it everything I had, and it's given me back so much more than I've hoped for. I love that he says, I've given it everything I had, because as an athlete, as a professional, as anyone who puts their heart and soul into anything, you don't want to, if you have any success with it and then you're done with it, you don't want to walk away thinking, man, if I didn't, mess around with the girls or mess around with the drugs or mess around with this or that, I could have this, if I didn't those regrets. You don't want to have those regrets.
Right.
But he says, I've given everything I have. And look at the production. You look at his passion. You look at how much he cares. Look at his fire. It's kind of hard to argue with that.
Right.
He says, I'm walking away with a heart full of gratitude, like you said, for the game, the people I shared the field with, for every single person who maybe feels seen along the way. I'll always look back at my Test career with a smile. And it's really interesting because most of these greats, they retire from Test first, and then ODI, and then T20. He retired from T20 first, which is really interesting. Go off on a high, go off on top. I'm sure maybe his mind, let me get this World Test Championship another run.
Right.
They have their next tour, I think, a Test tour in June against England. They typically always play him in our summertime or whatever. So it'll be interesting to see. No squad's been announced, obviously. Be interesting to see who's there, who's the captain. Will they go to a Bumrah, who is a seasoned bowler, pacer? I don't know. Teams have recently been going to bowlers.
Yeah, I mean,
as
Australia
captains.
did, right?
Australia, I want to say someone else did too, but I can't think of who it was. It's there's definitely precedent for it. But I love his statement. 9,230 runs in 123 tests to his name. 30 centuries, 31 50s, average of 46 and 8,500s. His 30 centuries are the fourth most by an Indian player. I want to say Sachin had like 100 total, the centuries and half centuries. I could be wrong. Right. That might have been all the formats. But 30 centuries, 31 50s, you know, that 50-50 mark, that's just absolutely crazy. Let's read Rohit's, and then we'll talk about him. This was May 7th, so yeah, a week ago.
It was days, yes. It's days after.
He's retired with, there you go, immediate effect. I mean, India will need a new full-time captain almost immediately by the end of the IPL. With India's 5-test series in England, scheduled June 20, like I said. Hello, everyone. I like how he starts off. Hello, everyone. I would just like to share that I am retiring from Test cricket. Like a simple text message. Hey, just so you know, I'm going to come over when I'm retiring from Test cricket. It's been an absolute honor to represent my country in whites. Thank you for all the love and support over the years. I will continue to represent India in the ODI format. Rohit, who had retired from T20, he also retired from T20s after India won the T20. Am I getting that confused? Did Virat also retire?
Right after they won.
Okay, so both of them did.
Right.
As captain said in a post on social media on Wednesday morning. He has 4,300 runs in 67 test matches, averaging just under 41 runs, and with a poor recent run. He scored 12 centuries and 18 half centuries over the years with the best of 212. I think we reacted to that, actually. And then there's another article where it talks about so many people after Rohit announced it on social media just gave him his flowers and congratulated him, and just people all over, not just Indian players. It's a big blow that both of these guys.
Yeah, it definitely is. And I think it's a passing of the guard, right? I think everyone knows eventually it's going to come, but when it happens, nobody's really prepared for it. And it's time for that new generation of cricketers to take over. I mean, I think Indian cricket's going to be fine. Think about it, man. They had to move on from Sachin. They had to move on from MS Dhoni. So, I mean, they're used to forget about big. They're used to legends walking away from the game. And somehow they've always been able to produce the next legend. Who that is, we both don't. I don't know anyways.
But and this will be for the audience, but tell us. The only thing I think of is Australia. I want to say I heard somewhere that Australia had a period where some of their greats back-to-back retired around the same time. But what two, and I wouldn't call Rohit, no disrespect, an all-time test great, but he's right now, currently, this generation, he's a test great. When do you have, within 1 week, within 7 days, 5 days, your former two captains of the test team both retire in that same week?
That is a good question. And it's going to be a tough blow. It's going to be a tough blow, but I think, again, that Indian cricket's going to be fine. There's so much talent. We've said they've got so many good players. I think the biggest thing is, especially when it comes to test cricket, is it's the biggest format and the most prestigious format, and captaining that team, it's pressure, brother. Absolutely. It is pressure. So it's not that, think about all the big names and big hitters. That's why you like you said, maybe a seasoned guy like Boomer that won't let it get to him, even though, how I feel about bowlers being captains.
The other thing is he can't stay healthy all the time, too.
Yeah, there you go. But you're going to say who's going to take over, and it's got to be just who has the temperament to deal with it, because for a fact that person is going to be filling in some mighty big shoes and immediately be put in the spotlight. You know what I mean? And it just is what it is, man.
I'm gonna have you make a guess, though. I'm gonna look at the last few. So they had a series against New Zealand where that was a Champions Trophy. But yeah, no. So Champions Trophy, is that test as well? No, that's not test, is it? No, that's ODI. No. I want us to try to make a guess, but I want to get to their test results.
That is now, dude, you asked that question. And I mean, here's the thing, right? There's guys that have been captain in in the IPL. That's not the same as test, right? They've got some really good hitters, but to say who, oh my gosh, dude.
And again, the fact that India won, and we didn't talk about because it happened right before we started coming back and we were trying to figure, They won the Champions Trophy, for crying out loud. That's a big deal. And in that, again, it's...
Would you say...
I think it's one day international. I keep doubting myself on that, but I'm pretty sure it is. 50 overs, yeah. And so in that, you had players like Shreyas Iyer. He's captain in T20 at least,
right,
IPL.
Right.
Shubman Gill, I don't know if he's ready for captaincy yet.
So
but
young.
He's been there for years, though, working under these guys.
Yeah.
KRL, don't stop.
You hate KRL.
But I want to say he was vice captain for a time. I don't see Axar being there, but he could. Nothing against him. Jadeja, he's been there for a long time.
Right.
He's an all-rounder. But the only thing I can think of is his 3-minute stint as the CSK.
Yeah, that did not go well.
Captaincy, no.
Did not go well.
They jump ship. Hardik Pandya, maybe.
Oh, man.
Again, IPL and Test. I'm not sure if any skills translate besides playing cricket.
Yeah, it's
maybe Hardik Pandya.
I mean, I'm
He's got leadership.
that you guys let us know. Who do you think the next captain is going to be, or who should be the next captain? Not who's it going to be. Maybe sometimes who it's going to be is it who it should be. You know what I mean? I hope they don't give it to a young guy like a Shubman Gill, honestly, because you don't want that pressure to then impact his game. And the reality is that don't tell me that being a captain does not impact your game, especially if the team's not doing well with the expectation. Think about this. Not only am I captaining this team, but I just lost two of the best, Test players. I lost a Virat Kohli. I lost a Rohit Sharma. Are you kidding me right now? I got to fill in these shoes. Oh, man. No. Don't want the job, please pass it on. And of course, all of them would want the honor of doing it. But I'm like, shh.
They would absolutely want the honor to do it. And as I'm saying these names, I don't even know how much of these guys are playing a lot on the Test team anyway. So I've been out of the loop for a while. So I'm really kind of rattled by this. It's so weird because you talk about a player of your generation. Now, we're older, obviously, but not much older than Virat Kohli, where you watch your team and that guy's always been there. I think about going back and looking at Kobe, baseball, Tony Gwynn. My entire life, he was always a Padre. Kobe, my entire life, he was always a Laker when I was getting into basketball.
Right.
I got into basketball as a fan at the age of 16. Kobe, they were starting their three-peat. So he'd already been there for 5 years.
Right.
So when those guys come and go in the sport, it's so weird because
the team loses its identity.
When the first two batsmen go down, well, we got Virat at least. He's going to get at least 40 or 50 runs.
It's
and then he's not there.
I feel like the team loses its identity. I know exactly what you're saying. Yeah. Derek Jeter was probably the face of the Yankees for, a decade plus. Multiple championships, and when he walked away, it was just oh, you know what I mean? And the Yankees, in my opinion, it took him a while. Now Judge is the face of the Yankees, but until he wins that championship, I don't think he's still, he's got the captain. They're
gave him still trying to find that shortstop, if you want to talk about that.
Exactly, and with the Giants, Eli Manning left. We've not been right at quarterback, and the quarterback is, for all intents and purposes, he is the captain of the team, right? In every football team, that's the field general. That's the one that gets things done. So, I think honestly, man, in my opinion, they need to give it to somebody who has a a lot of thick skin, has very even keeled temperament, because it's gonna be a lot of pressure for that person.
And you gotta have someone that the players can look to. And I'm looking at I think this is the most recent Test series against Australia. Back in January,
right,
when Australia was able to handle some business finally at home, right, for you. And
you knew it.
Sharma wasn't there, and Kohli was. Who they have as captain? Bumrah. He was the captain, at least of this fifth match. I'm not sure what the situation. If Rohit missed the entire Test series, I don't know. Or this fifth day. Maybe it was they played 5 matches, right? Yeah, fifth Test. Jesus, yes, 5. Can you imagine that 5 tests in the place of Australia where these greats are at?
Oh, my.
The gauntlet.
Oh, my.
And, of course, Australia won that quite handedly. But even though they got bowled out 181 at first, then they bowled out India 185, 157. Man, that would have been a crazy one. Scott Boland, there he is. Anyways, getting distracted. Crazy news. Let us know what your thoughts are. Let us know for those of you who have been following much longer than we have, much longer after we kind of took a break from it, diehard fan, what do you think about it? If you're not a fan of India, what does this mean for you? Comment below. Let us know. Thank you so much for waiting for our next upload. We really appreciate it. We're going to keep busting these videos when we can. Don't forget to like and subscribe. And until next time.
We know all things.